Hi everyone, this is Maki, and thank you for watching this video. I'm pretty sure that you have heard the name of Mount Fuji. The world-known Mount Fuji was the fountain of earthworks. Also, did you know Mount Fuji is an active volcano? It exploded throughout the history. This fact pushed people to awe Mount Fuji, and the mountain became sacred place to worship. Edo period. It's surprising how people carried out the ritual. But now, ritual side is kind of fading away, and it became more casual. Anyone can go to the top of mountain. Up there, you'd experience the most sacred moment of your life. Well, probably one of. Okay, let's soak into the world of Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is used in all kinds of artworks, including pictures, art crafts, photography, as well as used in many commercial designs. Historically, Mount Fuji was frequently erupted, and it was revered as a divine peak, especially in Heian period. The R became the subject of artworks, including paintings, haiku, tanka, and stories like Taketori Monogatari, the oldest literature of Japan. The oldest existing painting of Mount Fuji is in 1069, Shotokutaichi Ekiden, third panel. Then in Kamakura period, when eruption became calm, a major change in the depiction of Mount Fuji occurred. The majestic triangle became the shape of Mount Fuji, and the three cracks in mountain top became standard. This shape gradually became established through the time. In Edo period, when the face to Mount Fuji expanded, so its pictures, especially Ukiyo-e. Katsushika Hokusai published 富岳36景 36 views of Mount Fuji as a separate Ukiyo-e series. Actually, although he said 36, 46 of them are made. He also published a pictured book called 富岳100景 100 views of Mount Fuji. Utagawa Hiroshige also published 富士36景 which is called 36 views of Mount Fuji. And although it didn't complete, he tried to publish Fujimi 100 景 100 styles of looking Fuji. Unfortunately, it didn't complete due to his death. All the published ones became huge hits, which proves how Edo people had interest in Mount Fuji. How the volcano Mount Fuji was worshipped. It traced back to Jomon period. At that time, Mount Fuji was probably more active than later time. Around the Mount Fuji, some record-like marks are found. The people prayed from distance, and it was called Yohai. After that, probably Heian period was horrible. Many eruptions occurred. The Jogan eruption in 864 was especially notable for its large scale. During that time, nature was the same as God, and people worshipping Mount Fuji seriously from that time. They first enshrined the god Asama, who worships Mount Fuji at the foot of the mountain. Well, after Heian period, the volcanic activity became calm, but people continued to worship Mount Fuji. Through the time, it became the training ground for Shugendo, a practice for mountain worship. Then, in Edo period, the Hotei eruption happened in 1707, causing significant damage to the surrounding area. People fear. Then a group of commoners, known as Fujiko, which is like a social circle, got together, and they climbed up the Mount Fuji and prayed there. The number of Fujiko became enormous in time. It was said that more than 800 Fujiko had existed. People in Fujiko dressed up in white robes and climbing up mountains with walking sticks. When they're climbing up, they murmured prayers. The most known one is called Rokkon Teijo. It was to keep Rokkon, which means eyes, ears, nose, tongues, body, and mental, clean. After Meiji Restoration, and especially the World War II, Mount Fuji and surrounding area became rather a tourist destination, and climbing up Mount Fuji became recognized as the leisure. So, don't you want to climb up this sacred mountain? If you want to climb up Mount Fuji, there are 4 routes. They're very different. Please choose the most suitable one for you. The most standard course is taking 2 days. First of all, you go to 5th station by bus, and around noon you start to climb up the mountain. Around 16 o'clock, you probably arrive at the hut. The hut is important. I'm gonna explain later. Anyways, at the hut, you take dinner or supper and get some rest, better sleep. And the next day, about 0:15, you wake up and get ready to climb up the rest of the way to the top. In summertime, you can see sunrise. It's just incredibly beautiful. You have time to go around the peak of the Mount Fuji. At about 7 o'clock, you start to climb down. Of course, it's faster than climbing up. Around 11 o'clock, you probably arrive at 5th station and get on the bus to the foot of the mountain. Well, there are the tours too, and you can join in that too. The most, rather all, the people stay at the hut. It's not a hotel. It's not having like all the services or separate rooms. Don't expect any omotenashi service as Japanese. It's a hut. At the hut, you can get supper, rest, and breakfast. Supper is usually a set menu that you can choose. So, eat what you're served. Usually breakfast is given to you as a bento style. And since there's no separate rooms, many people sleep in the large space. Since you're sharing your space with the others, be quiet as possible. Those kind of sounds harsh, but when you climb up the mountains for several hours, hut will look like a heaven. By the way, a hut needs reservation, especially in summertime since Mount Fuji is only open for summer. Sometimes the reservation gets full if you don't have a reservation. Even in bad weather, the hut may not let you in, and there's no place for a shelter or rest other than the hut. So please don't forget to make a reservation. Mount Fuji prohibits some activities by the law. Also, there are rules and regulations that you must follow, since they're all inevitably important when you climb up Mount Fuji. So, I'd rather want you to go through by a handbook in detail or explanation from a guide. Now, I am wrapping up. The reason why Mount Fuji could become the symbol of Japan. There must be a lot of beauty in Japanese. Without question, Mount Fuji has beautiful, rather perfect shape. There are mountains, and there are places that are beautiful, but one mountain standing still as it is rare even in Japan. And the faith to Mount Fuji is a prayer for longevity, peace, harmony, for families and cared ones. Because Japanese know anything could decay at a moment. This can be said now too. In the case of Mount Fuji, it was eruption. But any disaster, including earthquake, tsunami, could happen anytime. I think this ephemerality expanded through the people largely. And through the time, it became integral part of Japanese culture. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.